humans and non-humans alike, and good whatever applies to you. And today, we are back on Vampyr. Well, we are getting a feel for the hospital we will now be working at. Hopefully, anyway. I mean, technically I could just wait for a couple story missions and then kill everyone everywhere. But that's kind of boring, honestly. Why slaughter the wild? You don't get any fun if you slaughter everyone. There are so many things you can do with the living that you can't do with the dead. Anyway, hopefully this the scratching should be, or the cracking should be gone. It used to be around. I really did hate that. Good night in the garden of good and evil. Hey, this is your side quest section. Find out who's spying on Thelma. The backyard garden. Alright. You can only have one side quest up at a time. They call it investigations instead of side quests, side missions. You can take it or leave it. Let's see, who haven't I talked to yet?
I wish I could be figured came here in the first place. Boil with the fever.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How's the situation in London?
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
Dying in the
It's
streets,
serious. The flu is
vampires
wreaking havoc
everywhere.
amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse?
Okay, the reason why the Black Plague
What
didn't
if in
kill
the end,
everyone was
nobody
because it
was
killed
spared?
enough. It couldn't spread anymore.
You must get a hold
That
of
is
yourself.
not
nurse.
a good
Sorry,
comparison.
I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
That reminds me, there was a movie I watched a while ago about the Black Death. Basically, these knights are investing witchcraft or something because there was allegedly one village that wasn't touched, yada yada. Basically, it turned out the only reason they weren't touched was because they were so isolated and it had nothing to do with witchcraft or anything. And they all died as soon as one of the knights turned out to be infected
How
with
long
the plague.
have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
See, this is tricky. I don't actually know what would be right to say. You have little details here, but yeah, they don't really tell you much about personalities.
I don't like your attitude, Nurse Hawkins. Pessimism can be as lethal as the epidemic in times like these.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Okay, well, it's better than nothing.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why
he
is
so
Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
I know from last time I talked to him. Well, actually, he was very chatty last time I talked to him. And we don't have enough hints.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
See, sometimes you won't have more conversation options until you talk to someone else previously.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Like here. We talked to Miss Harcroft, now he is.
How close are you to Miss Hawcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Oh, sure. Having someone probably bite
do you
at
let
you
her
and try
bite
to drink your blood.
You know that's not sanitary.
And
That's
why
not
not?
hope, man. That is...
She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Please don't have group delusions. It's not good. And while he looks like a prime candidate for drinking blood, that's also not.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
What's the phrase? Don't shit where you sleep or something? Don't shit where you eat, don't sit where you sleep. One of those. Anyway, the point is, I live here. Bad idea to eat local patients. Question. Do I have to bite someone to death in this universe to get a drink? I mean, can't I just take little bits at a time or something? Do I really have to kill them instantly? Just
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Well, she's definitely crazy, at least.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Not very
Would you
nice.
say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
Wait, so does she like him or does she not like him? It's hard to tell.
I'll leave you,
You know, with all the
Mistress of
crazy
the Dark,
right there.
to your nocturnal activities.
I wonder, did the character just get a kick out of it? A crazy person who thinks they're a vampire talking to a real vampire and doesn't even know it. What is back there? Is it a skull? What the hell is there a skull doing right outside the hospital?
The pain. There again.
The gods, man, secure the borders.
What a blundering idiot.
I said it's very important to talk to everybody, so talk to everybody.
So many days.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Overrated dabblers? Fuck you!
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of
Yep,
course, you
Cotard
can't say
syndrome
the same about
delusion is a
me,
real thing.
since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Neurologist Jules Cotard, 1840 to 1889. Delirium negation is a mental illness of varied severity. Real person, real thing.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital instead of a burden.
Hey, I
Since your
worked on
tenure
a
in this
war.
hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me.
God, this is some
I have always respected
superiority
the skills of
complex.
Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Well, as long as we have their consent, I say we cut them open however we want to.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
I don't like you.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
I can't tell if he's just narcissistic or genuinely cares about his patients. It's very hard to categorize this guy.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Yeah,
Thank
please
you for
leave
your
me
time.
alone.
We'll
Even
talk
though
later.
I don't want to talk to you first. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ella. As for me, I'm an idiot.
Unfinished letter. Pembroke Hospital, 2nd of November. My dear children, sorry I did not write to you before, but it hurts like hell just to write these few words on bloody paper. Don't worry, Daddy will go out of hospital soon, as the doctor fixes his arm. In the meantime, if you need something, go see Mr. Chadwick at the construction site. Tell him you're Harvey Fiddick's children. Remember Robert Chadwick, the big guy with a mustache who helped me repair the house doors last spring? Go see him and ask for a few bob. He won't refuse to spare you a few. Sorry I can't work anymore for now, but we'll figure out something as soon as I'm out. Don't worry, everything will be fine as soon as Daddy's arm is strung again. As soon as the doctors have fixed my arm, I blank. And this is another doctor.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr.
The
Reed.
hell are you staring? Okay, now
Dr.
you're staring
Swansea
at me.
informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
And you actually informed them.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
Well, I mean, we could just start going house to house with a
I
flamethrower.
based my
It'll
technique
stop at
on my
some
mentor's
point.
research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Yeah, again, please do not experiment on unwilling patients. Mesmer's skill's not high enough.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
I really
Do you
don't
need
like
help
this.
with
I don't
anything
like either
in
of these two
Well,
doctors.
yes, maybe. I'm
we got
waiting
the
for a
old
batch
dude
of
who's
products
nice.
I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me
This
to
guy
play
sounds
the
like a regular
errand boy for you?
Frankenstein.
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Local investigations. Well, we already know about investigations, so. See, when you have two bases pointing at one thing, A, it means they won't have a separate investigation. So this is all you get for both characters. And B, it means you'll be left with a choice at the end of the investigation.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think?
Putting differences
Why is it so
aside.
difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
You can see a bit of the
Tell me
pride,
more
but,
about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Well, it really depends on your ability to remain emotionally distant. If you're capable of separating yourself and being impartial, then by all means, talk to the patient as much as you want.
Tell me Mr.
If you're
Fiddick's
not,
story.
you kind
Our
of
first
have to keep
diagnosis
it.
was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Nope. Well, we got plenty of details about
Goodbye,
Harvey
Dr.
Fiddick.
Strickland.
Let's talk to Harvey Fiddick. And once again, this
You
game
always knew the words to calm
is
the
a
children,
lot of
Ellen.
talking
As for me,
and then a bunch of fighting.
Good evening, sir. I'm
Once
Dr.
you talk
Reed.
to everyone, do the
May I help you?
investigations
I
and
don't know if a
everything,
third
then they
opinion
really
is
don't have anything
needed.
else to say.
your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Yeah, this is also someone we could kill and drink their blood to gain power.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Yeah, definitely need both hands for that.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well,
He hasn't even been
it's clear that I've
yet.
chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Yeah, now, in the middle of the surgery, I might decide you just make an excellent snack and rip open your throat and drink your blood.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Damn, that must suck.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building
Wait, when is
workshops
this
for
game
the Royal
supposed to take
Flying
place?
Corps.
I thought
Helen
this
was
in
happy I wasn't sent to
1912.
the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
I don't know, I mean, you have a lot less to worry
Tell
about.
me about your injury,
I'm
Harvey.
kidding.
Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
I mean, she's just getting
How could your
lunch.
job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Well, I don't know. There's plenty of rats around. I'm sure you can cook a couple of them up for a while.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Well, he seems decent enough. That's good. At least he didn't try to injure himself or anything. And then... Hi! How are you two doing?
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Life in London. How painful.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Well, too bad for you.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help
I don't
if I
have a
gave you some
chalkboard.
paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Yeah, boy.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
You will talk to me, boy.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Never could.
Yeah, he isn't gonna talk to me.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
I haven't heard much of my own character's talents. Is he actually good?
What can you tell me about
I mean,
yourself,
all I've heard so
Mrs.
far is
Goswick?
he was in a war.
Not much to say.
He's mainly a surgeon.
Just take care of
And
my
he
Mortimer
discovered
and
a
I'll
blood
cover all the
transfusion effect
expenses.
during the war.
That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Waste your time with me.
Good for you.
What do you think of your
I
reception
mean,
here?
depending on what era
Any
this
complaints?
is, I bet
I
you
have
get a
had
lot
the
of
uttermost
difficulty.
reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me about them. I'm sure I will give them a
Tell me
horrible
more
bashing.
about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Oh, you're making patients pay for
She
beds?
charged you for a bed.
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Oh, good that you're not cheap, but damn.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
It shouldn't be tolerated in this hospital. I don't care if there's an epidemic. Yep, nope, nothing else to
Goodbye,
say.
Mrs. Goswick.
Phew, finally, a quick conversation. But you know what the extra details about the patients means, right? We gotta go back to talk to some other patients. And doctors. Alright, where's Nurse Hawkins? Nurse! Nurse! There you are.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Oh, wait. Oh, damn it. I missed the letter. It's not in here, so that means it's probably here. Yeah, here we go. This is long. I don't feel like reading it. We already have to go through a lot of these conversations, so you know what? Pause and read them. Because otherwise we'll be here
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
all
Good evening, Dr.
longer
Reed.
than all day.
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
Oh yeah, I said the right thing. Although that didn't activate any other hands.
Goodbye,
And
Nurse
for some
Hawkins.
reason I can't talk about the fact that you made people you charge people for a bed. That's not very nice. But I mean, we do have to manage people based on, well, we should be doing triage procedures, not ooh. You see that symbol there? That means they're having a conversation that we can listen in on. Yep, when the color of their heart's different, that means we can be annoying little peeping toms. We just need to find the spot to stalk them from, and we're good.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Oh boy. Oh, Mortimer isn't good. Yep. See, the game actually, well, I guess they're trying to give you reasons as to why you might want to kill people. Or at least reasons that would make it easier for you to kill them in order to gain experience points. Because, I mean, in that situation, it's like, well, the kid trying to kill himself, may as well just dig in. Ah! Okay, and actually, let's talk to another.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. It's locked, all right.
By the way, if you want to get all the guns in the game, all the weapons in the game, you have to kill people. Probably everyone.
Good
I
evening.
would wager.
I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor. Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. but I used to be a real doctor.
Alright, so now you just watch the corpses?
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
And what was that bit about I should have been dead? He's trying to kill me.
Interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Well, I guess it's a good
How did you
viewpoint
get this
considering all the
job
dead
after I
bodies
left the
around here.
army? I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Oh. Milton helped you get a job. That's interesting.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Wait, why exactly would you close the
Why
morgue down?
close the
I think
hospital's
you'd be filling
main
that
morgue?
up.
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Oh, that explains it.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Yeah. About that. She was relieved. For a couple of
A
seconds.
pawnbroker.
And then
I
she
expect
died.
you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
And where do you get these goods?
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Oh boy. Well, you're sounding more and more suspicious.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Are you
Since you're
robbing
not
these
afraid
corpses?
of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Even goodwill, huh?
Do you really
Well,
believe
there's often
goodwill
stories where
cannot last?
mortals
As
start
I
out
said,
good
sir,
and everything,
everything
went evil over
decays.
time, just from
If I was to
experience.
never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Yeah, great way to comfort the vampire. I mean, sure, you don't know he's a vampire, but come on.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Hey, that was a personal question.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
be sure we're making a difference. You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Hello, patient.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I happen to be
How are
spying
you?
on you.
I'm okay.
You mind telling me about yourself?
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Well, tell her to keep a close eye on your personal effects. We got people charging for beds here, so they might have sticky fingers.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured, you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's
And you look
tempting, Doctor.
18.
But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Good parent. That's nice.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me.
You can trust me.
I'm
I
just
won't
deciding
report you to the
whether or
authorities.
not I should
My one and only
Oh
concern
yeah, that
is
used
your
to
health.
actually
I
be a
guess I should
crime.
thank you then.
Yeah, this person would clear some type of mental issues, personal anguish, existential crisis, a lot of things in their life. Let's throw them in jail afterwards, because that'll make them feel so much
Can I
better.
help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
Okay, well, thank you for the key. And can I also loot the shit
I
out
have
of
to
your
go
house?
now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
You sound rich, so I'm
Don't
just
waste
gonna
your
take
time with
anything
me.
I find in your house that isn't nailed down.
Good evening,
Is that
Doctor.
okay?
How is my son doing?
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Very good, Mother. At least in this interaction,
Goodbye,
we
Mrs.
can
Goswick.
think she's a good mother. Don't know how accurate that is, but I suppose we may or may not find out. Strangely enough, I can't tell if these people are alive or not. I guess it's just a gameplay thing, just to not be annoying. Because I mean, if all these had a beating heart, it'd be kind of annoying. Zeroing in on the people you can actually talk to. Okay, best course of action right now is, instead of going to room, to go find this picture. Into the backyard garden. Well, I'm here. Now, where the hell is the damn thing?
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Well, I mean, it's very clear that what the hospital driver fighting was a skull. There we go. I really do suck at parrying. Okay, yeah, no, I cannot do that. Yeah, I'm much better at that instead. Behold my hacksaw. And yeah, I definitely can't use a used scythe. Let's switch to a bludgeon instead. And get the revolver out. As you can see, it is much more useful to parry. I can't use like in every other action game, stamina is life. Oh, hello, Milta and Pippa forever.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Yeah, well, who cares? Happy together, you know, all that. I mean, shit, everyone's dying in the street. May as well. Now, which way is the way back? It's one of these paths. Oh, hello. I did not see you there. Why exactly am I able to jump up here? Doesn't look like I can actually do anything up here. And I can't go higher. Weird. Okay, this has to be the right way. Yes, it is. Miss Pippa and Mr. Milton seem to have a lot of secrets. And there's a patient we can't get access to yet because the door is locked. And I don't know why they're locking a patient in a room, but I can only assume it's because it's very annoying.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I found your wallet, sir.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
You could be a little cheery.
I have some good news, Milton.
What?
You have to look on
the
bright
epidemic's
side.
over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin color that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good.
I'm
Please,
a dad,
take this
so-
money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Oh yeah, this is that time period, huh?
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
Well, that's all the time we have for this one, and we'll continue his conversations next time. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you like what I subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter for channel updates, pictures of dogs and cats, and whatever else I decide to put up there. So goodbye, humans and non-humans alike, and good whatever applies to you.